Good afternoon. My name is Shahar Keinan, and I'm going to talk here today about quantum computers for fast mitigation of climate-emerged infectious diseases. And I want to start by thanking you for inviting me to talk here at the Science Summit on this really important subject. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to start by describing who we are, Polaris Quantum Biotech, and then discuss a bit about the changes for infectious diseases and how climate changes increase those risks. And then what quantum computers can do about that. So what are quantum computers, quantum annealers specifically, and how are we in Polaris using that technology for faster drug design? So let's start by talking about Polaris Quantum Biotech. We are a biotech located in Durham, North Carolina, in the United States. We established 2.5 years ago, and we built the first ever drug discovery platform using a quantum computer. And we are using this quantum computer to design new drugs for diseases that are spreading, not just due to climate change, but also current diseases as well. Our funding, we had our seed round last year, led by our crowd, our investors. And just to tell you about what kind of project or how many projects we do, this year we're going to do 20 projects. Next year we're going to do 40, 50 projects. So we are scaling up our capabilities very fast. Myself, I am the co-founder with Bill Shipman and CEO of Polaris Quantum Biotech. I am originally a computational chemist from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, and I've done research both in material design and drug design, have been in this field for the last 15 years. So, and again, Polaris Quantum Biotech is the only computer-aided drug design company using quantum computing. And we think this is crucial. The capabilities of this technology change the time scales of how fast you can design and respond to emerging infectious diseases and other emerging pharma threats very fast. So why do we care about infectious diseases at this specific conference? Because climate change increased the risk for infectious diseases. We can see it in the US right now, where milder winter, warmer summer, fewer days of frost make it much easier for infectious diseases to expand into new geographic areas and infect more people. And I'm going to give you some examples of that. It's not just, of course, US-centric. There are other examples of that. I will start by talking about what's happening in the US in the last 20 years, and where diseases like Lyme disease and spotted fever are moving from the north and the northeast slowly toward the south, because ticks are moving, and the geographic range of ticks where they spread diseases have grown. We have more illnesses because of that, from mosquitoes, ticks, and flea bites, and everything from West Nile viruses outbreaks to other tropical diseases. I'm going to talk a lot about dengue, which is one of the areas that we in Polaris worked on. And this is known that dengue, for example, became endemic, and it didn't used to be endemic, but now it is endemic in South Florida and Texas due to changes of weather. There are microbial threats that are coming from the Arctic, but not just from the Arctic, because the temperature there are rising, and there's a widespread thawing of the permafrost, and that creates vectors and possibilities for diseases that were viruses that were frozen to come back to a population that is no longer protected against those. So our natural immunity is no longer relevant there. In 2016, there was an anthrax break in Siberia, for example. And there are other viruses, other bacteria that can emerge from there. So climate change poses clear danger to human health. And there is a need for fast mitigation of these dangers. So we need to respond fast. And one of the technologies that can help us respond fast is quantum computers, because of their capabilities, because of their speed, and also because quantum computers are different than regular computers. So what are quantum computers? And I'm specifically talking about quantum annealers. And quantum annealers are game changers in optimization process. So things that used to take much longer in a classic computer, the computer that you have in your laptop or when you go to Google Cloud. These are what we call classic computers or CPU-based, can solve some problems very efficiently, but other problems much slower. It takes them more attempts. And when we run it on a quantum computer, they are much faster at solving those problems. And let me just say that quantum computers are completely useless in solving other problems. So quantum computer cannot make a better or a faster Word or PowerPoint, but some problems they can solve much faster. And one of those problems are optimization problems. So one of the optimization problems, it's something called the salesman problem, where a salesman needs to find what is the fastest and cheapest way to visit all the cities in a country with thousands of cities, each one time. And you can think of that as finding the fastest route between 2 points or between multiple points, like what you would have when you try to find a route using a map, a Google map or any of those things. So on a classic computer, you need to do that many times, 500,000 attempts. On a quantum computer, it's much faster. It takes 500 times faster. And here is maybe an example of that. And this is, I took this from Chuck Bates. And what's happening is that when you solve a maze, a classic computer, you start at a point and you go all the way. And when there's a fork in the road, you choose one direction and you put a marker there. And you go until you reach a dead end. You come back to the marker and try the second way. So basically, you need to go through most of the maze and try and come back, try, come back, until you find the way forward, the answer. Quantum computer, because the way that quantum computers are you sample the whole maze at the same thing. This is one of the properties of a quantum system, the possibility of being at all the locations at the same time. And that means that while the classical computer is still in the first or second trial, the quantum computer has already solved that problem because they are moving forward, propagating throughout the maze. This is something that we're not the only company, of course, that's using optimization, and we are the only one that are doing it for drug design. But on the specific D-Wave quantum annealer, which is the annealer that we are using, the quantum annealer, have been shown optimization application. One of them is in the Port of Los Angeles on how to schedule things, right? How to make sure that the boats are coming in with the right, to the right location in the port, the trucks are coming in to pick up stuff, that the cranes are moving in the right direction. All of that, it's a huge optimization problem. And you want to be at the optimum capabilities there. You don't want a half an hour being late for each of those cranes or trucks. That's going to accumulate very fast. Another problem that is being solved on an optimization on D-Wave is how to load an airplane. You have many boxes, right? And you need to figure out how to balance inside the airplane, how to make sure the things you want out first are going to be out first. So that's, again, an optimization problem. And both of these optimization problems are something that's solved way faster, way more efficient on D-Wave quantum annealer. Polaris is using the same kind of an annealer to solve a different optimization problem, and that is to find the best solution for drug design. And the question that we are asking is, you have a very large virtual chemical space, all the molecules that are possible, which one of those is the optimal solution for specifically the disease that you're interested in? And we are making it a bit narrower. We are saying for a specific disease, we understand the biology of that disease, what is the protein that you are interested in, and then find the molecule that is a combination of binding to that protein, changing the biology, but also having properties that are the right properties for that disease. So if you're interested in disease that has, you want molecules that will pass the blood-brain barrier, because this is a disease that is happening in the brain, or disease or molecules that will not pass the blood-brain barrier. And if you're interested, so different profiles of the future drug is where we're using the quantum computer. Because quantum computing is good for multi-object optimization. We are revolutionizing computer-aided drug design by doing multi-object optimization at this instead of stepwise optimization. We are looking at billions of molecules and finding the best ones in them. We start again from virtual chemical library of billions of molecules, and we're using the D-Wave quantum annealer to do multi-object optimization. And then we have several consecutive steps where we are going from 100,000 molecules to a couple of thousand molecules, and then doing a very high accuracy, very complicated calculation called QMMM to make sure the molecules that we chose at the beginning are still good at this level of accuracy. And the final list for us is about between 20 to 100 molecules that are ready for experimentation. So the molecules that we find come from large virtual chemical space. They have all the properties that we are interested in, but they're also very accurate in their calculation. So an example I want to give you today is for dengue fever, because it is becoming endemic in the US. It's a mosquito-borne tropical disease. It's caused by the dengue virus. It is extremely painful disease. So it's also called bone-breaking disease, because the pain of when you're sick is excruciating. And also in a small portions of cases, the disease can become a severe dengue and can be developed into a hemorrhagic fever, which is fatal. There's only a small percentage of the population that can use the vaccine that is available, and there were several recalls on that vaccine. And to make it even more complicated, in the last couple of years, there have been recording of local transmission of dengue, both in Florida, South Florida, and Texas. So it is becoming endemic in the US. So when we started to look into this work, we used a study case, and we looked at work that done by others, and we compared ourselves to a work by a company called Novartis, and they started at 2009. They've done some work and discover a lead candidate, a molecule that is going to be a candidate for them. However, that specific candidate did not show clinical relevance. That is, it binds to the protein, but binding to the protein did not result in entering the cell. So it was, if we think about multi-object optimization, we optimized a single property of it, not all the properties. We optimized binding to the protein. They did not optimize getting into the cell. They've done several sequences of work there. The last one of them is in 2016, where at the end of it, they found the molecules, the right molecules for them. And those molecules, have both activity in the cell and are active. So they were very happy with those results, but it took them from 2009 to 2016. When we came in, we said, okay, let's build on their work. And we started a library that was 1.3 billion molecules and included some fragments, parts of molecules from there. It took us 6 months. This is a work that we've done with the Fujitsu digital annealer. And the molecules at the end of those 6 months are ready for experimental testing. So think about this. Novartis did the work for 7 years. We did it based on their results. It took us 6 months, and 10 of our 30 top molecules had a similar motif as Novartis' final molecules. So these molecules are now being tested. I want to finish here by talking about other collaborations that we've done, because those collaborations are being noticed. And for example, I've talked about infectious diseases. We also work in the area of oncology, and we collaborate with a company called Foremost, where they find novel targets, we find novel molecules, and these are targets that are considered currently undruggable, and we find molecules that are relevant for them. And why am I talking about this specifically? Because these kind of collaborations are being noticed by the Secretary of State for Trade in the United Kingdom, that talked about this in the Atlantic Future Forum. So this is not something that is on the academic side of things. This has implications today, and it's being noticed today. So in Polaris, our mission is to develop drug leads at scale, treat and cure all disease for all people, using the latest innovation in cloud, quantum computing, AI, and machine learning. And I think it's specifically relevant for fast and emerging diseases that come because of climate change. And the mitigation of pandemics is going to be something that, due to climate change, is happening more often, and we need to be ready with the technology to tackle those pandemics. And I think quantum computing is the right way to tackle those pandemics. Thank you for the time. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have. Here is my contact information, and I'm looking forward to answering your questions.